What a special day. We have somebody very, very close to not only us, but also in our own world that is gracing the mothership today with his incredible presence. This would not be possible without this person. We would not have this podcast running. We would not have all of the things that we have. We wouldn't have all of the incredible testimonies that we have with our guests who just have the best time and feel so well taken care of if it wasn't for you. So I'm honored to be able to have you here today and to formally introduce you to the world. Thank you, Cris, for joining us.
Woohoo! Thank you for having me. I've never been here before.
You're here too much, I think.
No.
Isn't that my bedroom over there?
Cris, tell us, or not us, but tell our beautiful listeners who you are and how you are a part of this In Our Own World family.
Okay, so for, I want to say the last 3 years, I have been Jem and M's shadow.
Tail.
Their
Long
tail.
pause.
Appendage.
Not the liver, because you need the liver,
Yeah, we do need
but like
you.
the gallbladder. Like, life is better with it, but you can live without it.
Aw.
We can't live without you. Cris. We don't want to.
I have PA'd all of season 1, some of season 2.
Well, yeah, every episode so far.
Yes. Yeah, like some of seasons, except for today.
Yeah,
Like,
this
I don't
is
know.
Your
Your
first,
PA today is.
This is your first day not working on set, but being here on set.
Yes.
How does it feel?
Quite interesting. We've also done so much other things together.
Yeah.
We did both the Vogue magazine shoots together.
That's right.
We recently did the LGBTQ cover for Imogen.
Yes, we did.
Pop off,
Cris.
queers.
Yes.
Chris is credited in Vogue Mexico.
Pop off, Jem and Cris.
Just so y'all know. Oh, okay.
Hair
Hair flip.
And y'all go further back than that, right? And by the way, we just said Cris. We haven't even said his name.
Yeah,
This is Cris Rodriguez.
Hi, I'm Cris.
Just Cris. Just Cris. Anyway, I know that you guys have known each other a longer time than that. And obviously, we could talk for hours about how much you really do contribute and make In Our Own World a much better place, a much better planet to habitat on.
Inhabit.
To inhabit. Oh no, brain broke. Okay, brain brack. Anyway, you really do make everything better, so thank you. But you guys really do go way back, and I want to hear a little bit about how you guys met, Jem and Cris.
So technically we met because of your sister, right?
Yes, we met.
But I feel like it was actually more...
Well, we met 10 years ago, and you're.
you know, it's so funny. You've been saying 10 years for like 3 to 4 years now. So I'm just, what year was it?
We met.
I want to say it was like 2013.
No, we met earlier than that. We met in 20. I want to say 12.
Oh, a year.
Through. Yeah, I'm like, no, way before that. 6 months. Okay.
Cris used to get me into, I won't name names, but used to get me into the bar underage.
Excuse me.
Cris used to sneak me in. Cris was my hookup. When I was in high school, Cris was my hookup because Cris was a couple years older than me.
I'm not that much older. I was also.
You rotten queers.
No, but you were already.
I was also underage getting into the same place.
I do remember the first time I met you, though, was at Miles and Leanna's old place, and you had a shiny, shiny suit on.
Yes.
Ooh,
And I was like,
wow,
oh, that's
yeah.
a nice suit.
And I remember your white Doc Martens.
Wow, you guys.
They're all scuffed up now, yeah?
Yeah. You also told me that I had trumpet playing lips.
Huh. Oh, that's true. I still think that. You have a perfect space for the mouthpiece.
And then that was random. That's how we sort of met. And then we reconnected because, yes, Melinda opened for M. And it was a mission and a half to get Melinda here throughout that time.
Right, because she was living in Chicago.
Yes, and I we only had like one car at the time, so I had to roll up and take her. And when I was there, you guys were running around like, I don't know how to hem these pants. I don't know how we're gonna get these. And Melinda's like, Cris can do it. Melinda fully knowing that I didn't really know how to do it yet. So I just Googled it right there. Then
Well,
Truth comes
an
out.
Iron M's outfit with Melinda's hair straightener.
I remember that.
Thanks, Cris.
Epic moment. I was like, I like that. I like that resourcefulness. We'll figure it out somehow. Cris, you're really good at that. You're really good at like, I don't know, I have duct tape and sticks and a couple of lollipops, so I guess we'll figure this out somehow. It's a really cool quality about you.
Thank you. It's called being poor.
It's hilarious. Okay, but as you know, we did want to come here to talk about something in specific.
Yes.
Just something that I think is a small part of who you are, but I think a big story in general. And it's your medical journey.
Yes.
So you are, and it's something I'm very proud of because I think it's super cool. You are a 2-time heart transplant patient. Is it? Is that the way
Or
you
I
say
could
it?
say recipient.
Recipient. Okay, look at that.
Although I don't
We're
like the
learning.
word recipient because I feel like it sounds like we're awarding something, and the whole transplant process in general is a lottery.
Oh, okay. So transplant. You're
Receive-
2-time.
Survivor.
Receiver.
How do you say it? You're just like, I've had 2 heart transplants.
Yeah, I've had.
Haver of 2 heart transplants.
Yes, I like to say that I'm a serial heartbreaker. The only heart I break is my own.
Oh, no. It's so true, Cris. You're too nice to break somebody's heart.
Oh.
Okay, so it's funny because we've been friends for all of these years, but and in varying phases, and of course, never as close as we've been since the pandemic. The pandemic really brought us close together, and then of course, working together after that brought us even closer together. And then you became essentially like the right side of my body. And now I can't. I'll
Which is
never
crazy.
be. Oh yeah, I know. I'll never
Because
be.
the right is misguided.
More. Talk to them today.
Anyway, so, but I guess I realized that we had never really had this conversation, like from beginning to end. You know, I always know and talk to you about like what's going on in the moment. I know when you're having your procedures to check on your heart and what's going on, and you've talked to me about your meds, and I feel like I know what's going on a day-to-day basis based on what you share with me, but I don't actually know how it happened, how you got
history.
here, the history. I don't know any of the history. So I am really excited.
Me too.
I'm really excited to hear this story.
And thank you for sharing with us today.
No, thank you for having me. I'm very excited, slightly nervous, but mostly
Don't be
excited.
nervous.
Well, that's your camera there, so you can
Hi.
talk to the camera whenever you want. If you don't want to talk to us.
What's actually crazy is when we met, like 10 years ago, you were going through the tragedy with your mom, and I was waiting for my first heart transplant. So it didn't seem like we both had the space for each other's heaviness at that time.
Wow, I never
Because
thought
we were
of
both
it like that.
dealing with probably some of the most catastrophically
Oh, absolutely.
important things in our young lives
Yeah.
that like people don't have the maturity to deal with at that time.
Yeah, or even just capacity, like you said. It's so true. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah.
But okay, so
But I
when
always
we
felt
met,
like we
you
had
were-
such a deep respect for each other. Always.
for sure.
So
Even
that-
throughout the years, like if we had just ran into each other in public, it always felt like
Admiration.
meeting like that friend that you had in high school that signed your yearbook that was like, keep in touch. But you never kept in touch, but you wished you did.
Yeah, and I would see you sometimes when I was in college canvassing too.
Yes.
I remember that. When you worked for the Human Rights Campaign, that was crazy.
Yeah, I was the canvas director.
That's awesome. So obviously it didn't start with I'm getting my first heart transplant.
No.
When would you say, how old are you when you would say that this process started?
I was 15 years old, maybe. Well, I just turned 15. It was a week and a half after my 15th birthday. And
So you were 15.
I was 15.
And you never, before you were 15, you never showed any signs of any, like,
No.
medical.
Like when you were born, your heart was perfect.
When I was born, my heart was exceptional. I was normal kid, had to get my tonsils removed, but in the 7th grade, but normal.
And anyone
Normal
else in your
was
family?
awkward because I was gay.
You were? You
I was
were
gay.
gay, Chris?
Yeah.
Then.
But I was totally, well, I was what everybody perceived to be totally healthy. And then the first day of school, my 10th grade year, I woke up in debilitating chest pain. Like, I knew even at 15 that I was like, I am dying. Like, and I was like in horrible pain.
And you never felt anything like that before?
Nothing. I can't even explain. Like, literally
I
was
was
like,
gonna
if
say, what does it feel like?
someone took, literally, I say this all the time, like someone took a knife and they stabbed right into my chest, like through, I could feel it through to my back. And I could hardly walk or talk. And my mom, since it was the first day of school, she was like, "You're going to school."
Oh, no.
Kathy sounds an awful lot like Sheena.
She's like, "You're not missing the first day of school." And I'm like, I can't breathe. And she was like, "You're going to school."
Wow.
Mind you, my mom is a nurse. And at this time, she had been a nurse for almost 30 years already. And she gave me, because I had asthma. So she gave me a treatment and sent me to school. And I was in school. And I was halfway through the day. I was like, I'm going to die. If I stay here, I'm going to die. Like, I texted my mom and I was like, if you do not pick me up, I'm leaving school. She was like, I'm not picking you up. So I bribed my friend to take me home. In the middle of the day, I was like, hey, you want to get out of here? And she took me home and I walked through my front door and I told my mom, take me to the hospital now or I'm going without you. And then I hit the floor. Then she said, it's time to go.
Oh my gosh.
We got to the ER. This is actually like something that really replays in my head because it was like the beginning. We get to the ER and they have me in the last ER room. They're not taking me serious. They're like, you're having a panic attack. It's the first day of school. Your asthma's acting up. So they kept giving me albuterol, which was making
you more. Oh my God.
Then someone was like, fine, we'll do an x-ray. They do an x-ray and then all of a sudden everyone's running around like mice, like crazy. And then my mom comes into the room. She comes over the bed. I'll never forget this. She looks at me and she says, I have good news and I have bad news. And I said, okay, what's the good news? And she says, you're not lying. And then I was like, okay, what's the bad news? And she goes, you're not lying. And at 15 years old, I had a case of myocarditis and pericarditis. Myocarditis is when the muscle around your heart gets swollen and filled with fluid, and it kind of prevents it from pumping. And then pericarditis is the sac that covers the heart gets so full of fluid, and then it doesn't pump properly. So basically, it had a very enlarged heart, but they had no idea how this happened.
Yeah, what's the cause of those diseases?
For me, they believe there's no definitive proof. They believe that I got it virally.
Oh,
Like instead of getting the flu or a cold or pneumonia like other people, it decided to go to my heart. They have never been able to, it's been proven that it's not hereditary for me. And with those conditions like myocarditis and pericarditis, it is very common for people to get better. And I was in the process of getting better. And then a month or two into my recovery.
So how long was, so sorry, so you go to the hospital, and what was it like when you leave the hospital?
I left the hospital and I was still incredibly weak.
What did they tell you was the
Yeah,
process?
medication
Like,
or-
they told you, that's
When I
when they
was in the
told you that you had
hospital-
myocarditis and
Which is an
pericarditis.
acute, it's kind of like getting a cold of the heart, except it gets swollen. And
Right. So from there, what did
They
they
put
say
me
that
on-
the treatment was, and they
they
expected a
put
full
me
recovery?
on, yes, they put me on IV treatment. I was in the hospital for, I want to say like 3 weeks at that time. And I was fully expected to just fully recover. It was like, oh, you're going to get better. It's kind of was like long COVID, but of the heart.
Did they send you home with meds?
Yes, but they were like blood pressure medicine. And because again, this is something that people get better from.
Right. Okay.
At a couple of weeks later, after I got home from the hospital, I woke up to someone in my bedroom. And since I have the last bedroom at the time in the apartment, I saw a man in my room and thought this person murdered my family.
Wait, what man?
There was just a man in my room.
In your bedroom?
Okay.
Yes, there was a man in my bedroom. And I immediately started swinging and screaming because I'm in the last bedroom in my apartment and I lived in a house with literally 4 other women. So I'm thinking the worst.
Right,
And my
of course.
niece at the time was like 2 or 3. She used to sleep with me. So the fact that she wasn't in my bed and there was a man in my bed, I
Wow.
immediately saw red and started,
And this is a real man?
yes.
Okay. So you start swinging at him.
I start swinging.
What the hell, Chris?
Yes. He, yeah, sorry.
Okay.
He jumped up and ran out. And I'm telling you, like, if you've ever seen the movie Sin City, where the monster guy with the glasses,
little glasses.
Elijah Wood's character, it literally was like that. Like, this guy had glasses. He literally ran out. And my first instinct was to chase him. So I jumped out of bed and I chased him. And because I'm screaming. I'm screaming for my sisters. I'm screaming for my mom. I'm screaming for my niece. Because I'm like,
What's going on?
and he like jumps off and he runs out of my house through the patio. And he ran past. My mom was sleeping on the couch. And I collapsed.
She didn't wake up?
She woke up to me screaming.
Oh, man.
They had to call 911 and I went into cardiac arrest, and then my heart never got better from there.
Who was the man?
He was a person who used to deliver pizza to my house almost on the regularly, apparently.
And how did you?
He broke in?
Like, what was he doing? What the hell?
Apparently, he was stalking me.
Did you guys call the cops? Like,
Yes, obviously. So we called the police.
holy
They
crap.
caught him the next day because when I was in the hospital, he came back to my neighborhood.
Oh, so when you saw him, you knew who he was?
No, I did not know who he was. I just saw some figure with glasses in my bed, and
Like, you didn't recognize his face.
No, I just started screaming and
That's
wailing
terrible.
on him.
How traumatizing. I'm so sorry.
And yeah, but that's not your fault.
No, but it's
No,
just
no.
terrible. I'm sorry you went through it.
And
So you went into cardiac arrest
Yes.
because of the situation. Because it was what you said, like
you were
2
still
weeks.
recovering from.
I was still recovering. And
Wow.
they caught him, and I believe that he maybe did like 3 years, but he's out in the world doing who knows what, living who knows where. And
Wow.
he got a 3-year stumping the road, and I got a death sentence.
Launching.